This is Kat Moss from Scowl, and you're listening to The New Scene.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The New Scene. I am your host, Keith, and we are back with another brand new episode. And on the show this week, we have Akil Godsey of End It. End It have taken the world of hardcore by storm this year and made a big impact with the release of their debut LP, Wrong Side of Heaven. It's a great record, so make sure you check it out if you haven't yet. We talked to Akil about his backstory, the formation of End It, recording Wrong Side of Heaven with Brian McTernan, and a whole lot more. It was really interesting to hear about Akil's background and everything he was up to leading up to End It, the reasons that he and the band started End It, the void that existed in the hardcore scene that they were looking to fill, and his takes on things are just really interesting and engaging and funny. I was really happy to have him on the show. You're going to love this conversation. But first, here's how you can support The New Scene. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a main channel with full video episodes and a clips channel with clips from select episodes. We have shirts for sale at our store at Deathwish Inc. Pick one up. It's a great way to support the show. And you can follow us on social media at New Scene Pod. Also, don't forget to support Iodine Recordings. Iodine Recordings welcomes The Saddest Landscape to the label. The Saddest Landscape have returned after a decade of inactivity with their frantic blend of post-hardcore. Piebald have holiday shows coming up December 7th through the 13th. They'll be playing with Hot Mulligan, The Worst, Saves the Day, and Glassjaw, so make sure you catch one of these shows. Check their page or the Iodine page for a full list of dates. Quicksand, Manic Compression, the 30th anniversary edition is up now for pre-order. Make sure you pick that up. And Final Transmission from Cave-In is available now in the Iodine Recording store. This record was made in tribute to the band's late bassist Caleb Schofield. It's a sonic yet somber reminder of his contributions to the band and the scene, and it's a must-listen, so pick it up. For more information, head to iodinerecordings.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you can follow the label on Instagram at Iodine Recordings. And say hello to our sponsor for the month of December, Evil Greed. In addition to their online store, Evil Greed offers tour merch, merch handling, and logistics services for tons of bands. They also offer merch and distribution solutions for bands and record labels in Europe and the UK. Evil Greed has a carefully selected roster of artists and labels in their online store. They offer very reasonable worldwide shipping rates specifically to the UK and the USA. Make sure you head to evilgreed.com, check out the featured music section, the featured merch section. There's new merch available from Zeal and Ardor. Check out their official merch store. The Shai Halud official store has just been updated with new merch. And the Glixen store has been updated with new merch. We've got featured merch from Spectral Wound, Chelsea Wolf, Blood Incantation, Full of Hell. We've got featured music from Converge, their new LP, Love Is Not Enough, Quicksand, the Manic Compression, 30th Anniversary LP, Colossal Rains, Feral Sorrow LP. You can pre-order A Short History of Decay from Nothing, and we've got new merch from High on Fire, Sun, and tons more. Sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss a thing, and you can follow them on Instagram at evil_greed. And now we are going to speak to Akil Godsey of End It. Enjoy. All right, we are here now with Akil Godsey. Akil, welcome to the show.
Howdy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Akil, and I'm very excited to have you here because big things are happening in the world of End It, especially this year. I was looking at everything that's been going on, and it's crazy. And look, we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other stuff. But Akil, first I want to ask you, how are you doing today?
Today, I'm doing just fine. Not a bad day at all.
Awesome. So right before this, we were talking, you were recording with another platform that has Scene in the title. And
yes.
There was some confusion. And you know what? I relate to what you're saying because I've complained about this on the show. There are too many things out there with scene in the title. I'm just gonna put that out there.
There's too many scene themed things. But like that's the community. That's the nickname for our world. It's the scene.
The scene, yeah. Remember Scene Kids, Scenesters, all that. It's gone through different variations over the years.
Right? The scene. What a time.
So you recorded something right before this. Here's a question.
Yes.
How many, all right, like what's the max number of interviews like this you can do in a day? I did 2 the other week. I was on a podcast and then I recorded one right after that. And my brain was cooked after that. I was like, get the microphone away from me. I don't want to do anything for the rest of the week. Like how much can you handle?
So because we've had this little 3-week rest from our headlining tour to what we're getting into this weekend, I've really just been around my old lady and her child for the last 3 weeks. So I got people energy to extend. So today we're good. On a normal day, like if I was on the road and I had to do 2 interviews back to back, this second interview is going to get some existential shit. I'm telling you.
Well, can you record a podcast or an interview like this right before you go on stage? I've done that before, where people will do it in the van before the show, and I think that's amazing.
Oh yeah, when the time calls, I don't mind.
Yeah,
that kind of keeps it punk still, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. I actually kind of encourage stuff like that. Catch me standing outside of the van. I will be smoking, but we can do an interview.
So do you live in Baltimore now?
My mail still goes to a location in Baltimore. I've been spending a majority of my free time off the road in El Paso, Texas.
Ah, okay. Is that where your girl lives?
That's where my old lady's from, yeah.
Oh, nice. How do you like it?
I love it because it's the desert and it's basically Mexico. I mean, it's a border town, as you know, but everyone here speaks Spanish and is Mexican. That would I've been to enough countries that would constitute being in Mexico, as far as I'm concerned. I love it. It's a whole lot. There's a lot going on, but in relation to that East Coast hustle and bustle, I don't hear helicopters and ambulance and everything. I hear and see a lot of poor driving, but I don't see a lot of police activity and whatnot. So it's cool.
Yeah, do you like that? Do you like the more subdued lifestyle down there?
After ripping and running for a while, yes. I like give me a Tacoma, Washington any day of the oh, it's quiet. No one's paying me any attention. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I think about that a lot because I live in Brooklyn and I'm from Philly before that. So it's always go, 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 go. But sometimes I think maybe it would be nicer to be somewhere quiet. Maybe it would be nice to have a car. I don't know.
We've so obviously you need a car out this way. As I've interacted with this young woman, we got in the vehicle and we went all around Texas. We went up to Austin. From El Paso to Austin's like 10 hours. So then we drove down to McAllen, Texas, and I drove home. And much like being on tour, there is something peaceful about looking at the GPS and be like, well, 10 hours is 10 hours. There's no way you're going to experience this entire 10 hours. So just lock in. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I like that. As long as it's not really late and I'm trying to stay awake. If you get on a highway and it's like, stay on this highway for 3 hours and then you just have like your big playlist set up, I'm like, great, awesome.
I get to, I personally, I listen to music, but I like to listen to more. That's one of the things we enjoy doing. We love a podcast. So I'll just throw on something that's 3 hours of the most absurd shit you could think of. And like, I love it. I love it.
What kind of stuff do you listen to? Like, what is your areas of interest in terms of podcasts?
So I've really got like 3 or 4. One is called The Read. I really like The Read. Small Town Murder is another one. I like a true crime, a supernatural, a ghost story. I also like comedy podcasts. I'm a big fan of comedy. I'm like, in the corniest way, you could call me a student of comedy because I can do bits and talk about this stand-up here and shit like that. So definitely a lot of comedy podcasts.
Nice. Have you ever done anything like that? I used to be really into stand-up. I did it for like a year and I just opened mics and I was really bad. Have you ever done anything like that? Have you ever thought about it?
I've done I really only done like one open mic back home in Baltimore. I never really fashioned myself as a comedian because I am an elitist. So much like with the hardcore shit, I understand that there's an entire culture and like a system of paying your dues and a hierarchy to what is stand up. So out of respect to those open micers and dudes who really like the same way I've been doing the hardcore shit, that's the way they've been doing the comedy thing. Out of respect to them, I would never fashion myself as a comedian, but I have done an open mic or two. Shout out the dude Ian Finance. I did live taping of his podcast in LA. I believe that was the Comedy Store. It was I think it was either the Comedy Store or the Improv. I can't remember right now, but I got to go up there and do that with him and the homie Chappelle. And then just this past, probably about 2 weekends ago, we played a festival called Flyover Fest in Oklahoma, and the homie Chappelle Lacey flew out there and he did some time, but he let me get up just before him and say something goofy. So all in all, I've done outside of like talking shit in between songs, I've done stand up maybe 5 times in life.
How was it? Like, did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
I'm the youngest of 3 boys and like 9 cousins, 10 cousins. I've been on stage, and I was the baby of the choir. I've been on stage my whole life.
Ah, okay.
So it was like, oh, attention. I'll take some. Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, I'm the middle child of 4 kids, so yes, eternally validation and attention seeking forever.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of 3. However, my parents had me 7 years after they had my older brother. So to a certain extent, I also grew up an only child because he went away to college and became an adult man. And by the time between him going away to school and me getting older, I had a lot of time to myself.
So you grew up in Baltimore City. How long were you there? Until what age?
So I'm originally, because I do play this game, so I'm going to be fair, I'm from Baltimore County on the map. You know, I'm from Turner Station down Dundalk, and then we moved out Rosedale. But where I'm from, Baltimore, it's all one. There's like deep parts of the county, and then there's where I was, which was like, yeah, this is the city-county line, but what is technically Baltimore City is right there. I just got to go to better schools, and the water was cheaper.
In Baltimore, okay. I always clarify, like, I was born in Philadelphia, but I grew up in the suburbs, and then I moved to Philadelphia, the city, and lived there for 9 years. Because if people feel like you're trying to claim Philly, they'll check you. Yeah, they'll be like, you didn't grow up there. Who do you know? Where'd you go to school? And I don't want to get into all that.
You know the homie Pat Troxel by chance? He drummed in that band Creep Out.
Yeah, he's been on this show a couple times.
I bet. Boom. Shout out Philly Pat. He just toured with us. He was our tour manager on this headliner. So I know exactly what you talk about. That's why I dropped Pat's name. And Baltimore's the same way. I'm from Baltimore County. I left the porch and moved into the city proper in like 2010, 2011. And then I've pretty much been in the city since then. But even before that, the difference between me and a lot of the cats where I'm from, which is why I pop my shit, I wasn't afraid to catch the bus or walk home. So like I go to the sidebar and catch a gig and the bus shut down. So now I gotta walk the 3.5 hours back out the county dressed like a fucking skinhead, back to my parents' house. So I've earned my stripes. I'm just fine.
Well, you would walk 3.5 hours home.
Not like consistently, but like, they weren't coming to get me and I didn't have a car. So if you want to catch the show, sometimes you got to walk home. I don't have a job. I don't have money for a taxi. Sometimes the homies would give me a ride home, but it's not necessarily like far. It's just the far reaches of where most people go, where my parents bought a house. So it's a little bit of ways out the way.
Yeah. How old were you when you found, let's say, independent music as a whole? Where did you find it? How did you find it? When did you start going into the city for gigs? Tell us about some of that.
So I found, and I let everybody know, my first real true exposure to like, oh, I like this was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. Because remember, I was born in 1990. Tony Hawk came out. We all heard Goldfinger. And then some of us decided to explore that. And others just decided to have a superficial appreciation for what they heard. And I went the nerd route and really got my toes wet with that when that game came out, and got the internet. I'm doing my MTV thing, and then I found like hardcore in 03, 04. So I'm like 13, 14. And then I get to high school and you start meeting dudes who actually are in bands and your classmates and your friends. So like, oh, I'll come see your band. And it started from there. So late 04, early 05 is when I started like going to DIY shows, like seeing, like it's pretty much metalcore, like MySpace bullshit. But you know, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, by '04 I got into the music in 98, and that was
Yeah.
the heyday of the avant-garde metalcore like Converge, Cave In, Botched, Coalesce, Dillinger Escape Plan. Those were all my favorite bands. Some of them still are. And then yeah, by the time we get to '03, '04, like Kill Switch Engage is really popping off, so we're going in that melodic metalcore direction, and then the MySpace core, as I call it, was a whole other thing happening.
So on paper, I was supposed to be a part of that MySpace core Hollywood Undead swoosh bang bullshit, right? Can't pull that aesthetic off. I was 160 pounds at 10 years old, so I was never able to do that. You know what I mean? Um, but then, oddly enough, I'm on MySpace, and I've spoken about this before. I found this fucking meme. Someone made a meme. It's a picture of Rabies doing his thing. It's a picture of some fucking scene kid doing their thing, and it just said, "This is not hardcore. This is." And then I found Warzone through a meme on MySpace, and now I'm in End It. Like it was literally just like that. Like, oh, what the fuck is this? And I put on Warzone, and I heard that shit, and it was over. It was over. I was like, oh, I want to do what they're doing. That looks fun over there. But mind you, I'm only like 14, 15. And I don't have but so much of a connection to this shit. So yeah, that was probably like 04, 05 is when I first heard Warzone. And remember, I found all of this music independently. My two older brothers grew up rapping, and I grew up in a Baptist Christian household. So, you know, rhythm and blues, gospel, hip hop, soul, all of that was the norm, the radio. But then I just happened to find this fucking punk rock shit, and it took over.
Nice. You weren't you rapping before too?
Yeah, I used to rap because my older brothers did, and why not?
How long did you do it? Like, were you recording? Were you really into it? Like, what was going on?
So they made club music in the late 90s, early 2000s. And the way my parents, you know, like I said, my one brother's 16 years older than me. And then the brother I actually like grew up with, he's 7 years older than me. So the way it worked out, you got to take your younger brother with you. So I was always in the studio. I've been forced to freestyle and rap and do all that. I've grown up in the studio. I remember when the Korg Triton came out and how big of a technological advancement the Triton was and all that shit, you know?
Yeah, you seem like I mean, well, growing up in the church, singing in the church, you said you've been on stage your whole life. You seem like the kind of person who you just go out there and do it. There's not much fear involved. Am I accurate there?
Yeah, always gonna be nervous. You don't want your voice to crack or anything like that, but this is just what we do. Just another. And mind you, I grew up in the church, and then in high school, I also went to school because they have these things called magnet programs in Baltimore County, and you know you specialize in one thing. And I got into the vocal music magnet, and so I went to pretty much every day in high school. I was doing music theory or some type of chorale, and then you have recitals and all that.
So you're like really vocally trained. Would you do solo stuff? Was there like shows and competition? Like how far into it did you get?
Oh yeah, every year you had to pay for it, but we had a thing called Fiestaval, and we all went to the competition. And Fiestaval had men's ensemble and women's ensemble and mixed chorus and chorale and chamber and show choir. So I went to school in high school to like we pretty much just prepared for Fiestaval every year. And then also the county had adjudications, and there were all state chorus and all county chorus and all of that stuff. I really had no idea what I was getting into. The chorale teacher in my middle school, she knew I could sing because I've always been in chorus class. I did performances in elementary school too. I've just always been around this stuff. I don't know how. My parents weren't like setting me up for it. Teachers would just be like, "Oh, what, Akil, would you like to do this?" And I say, "Yeah," because I'm a child. Why would I say no? So, not going to bore you with all the shit. Yeah, I've been around this shit forever, performing.
See, I like that. You said I'm a kid, so I say yes. Why would I say no? As a kid, I said no to everything, and, and I was thinking about this recently. I was talking about this recently. I was like, man, I didn't really like school, and I really didn't want to be home because being home wasn't fun at a lot of the times. Why didn't I become one of those kids who like does all the stuff? Like after school programs, singing, play, whatever. Like, why didn't I do that? I would just be like, no. I was like really introverted.
I played sports and I did all that. I'm rather introverted. I enjoy spending time. I really like spending all my time to myself. That simply is not the way my world has shaken out. Like I said, I'm the youngest of a pretty big family. I've been on display my whole life. Because when everyone was grown, now there's this new fucking baby. And it's like, oh, make the baby say this and make the baby do that. So I don't know. I'm in the church. We're in children's choir because mom's going to Bible study and choir rehearsal, and then we got to sing for 3 services on Sunday. And you're a child, so here we are. So it's just I was gonna be involved. I didn't have any choice.
Right.
But
right.
luckily, I was just there. But like, shout out to I had good teachers growing up who recognized like, well, Akil's musically talented. Would you like to be part of this vignette? Would you like to do this recital? And all those things. So I just did them because it's not that home was bad, but why be in the house? Go do something.
Yeah.
Also, they were really big on like get the fuck out of my house as well. You're going to be involved in something because I work real hard to pay for this, and I don't want you here while I enjoy it. So go somewhere the fuck else.
So in high school, okay, we're back to high school. We find Warzone. We find this music that we love. What did you want to do? Did you think about that at all? Like, was there a career path you wanted to explore? Did you only want to be involved in music? Like, what was going on with you?
So I can recognize it now at my big age. I never wanted. I've been sitting around my house reading Nietzsche and C.S. Lewis and Christian theological takes and Islamic takes and things on my own because my dad's real up in his head about stuff. So I've been exposed to a lot of concepts way before I was supposed to. So by the time I became of age, I knew I didn't want to participate in capitalism, but I know I need money. And like in being the son of a steel worker and like seeing what everybody be complaining about and going through at work, I knew I never wanted to become vital at work. I can tell you that much. I didn't mind having a job. I worked at Burger King for 3 years. That shit was tight. Smoke weed while I take the trash out. Sneak burgers on the clock. It's a good life. I get $500 every 2 weeks. I'm 18 years old. I got a piece of shit calling a girlfriend. Life is fine. And then you realize that shit ain't gonna work. But I've always done my best to not. I never wanted a fucking job. I also never wanted to be anything. There was nothing about work that seems fun. I hear my dad and my uncle talk about having jobs and being vital at the gig, but I know the difference between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. No matter how hard you work at work, you're never gonna own the fucking steel mill. So fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Right. Plus, there's no self-made millionaire. That those are realizations I've come to in the last 10 years. So props to you for finding it that young. But the only way to reach that class that steps on the lower class is to start your own business and rob the people of their wages.
And I simply can't. I don't want to participate in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that attracted me to like hardcore and punk and shit. It's all right to be broke, long as you keeping the faith, long as you ain't a fucking poser. You know what I mean? I don't mind being smelly and being poor and whatnot, as long as I can look in the mirror and still like who I see.
I like that. So it's a while till we get to End It. Were you in bands leading up to that?
I was in one band before I ended called Malicious Code. And Malicious Code put like EP and maybe like a couple singles, something like that. And then I joined End It while being in Malicious Code, and then End It took off.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
did. Well, we're gonna get there, but we're gonna get there. But did you want to be in a band? I mean, you found this music in what, 2003, 4, 5?
Yes.
Malicious Code. What year did that get started?
Shit, the code didn't start till like 2015, 2016.
Like, did you really want to be in a band? When I was young, I wanted to be the singer in a hardcore band. I wanted to be in a band so bad, but that didn't happen until a little later. Like, was that something you really wanted to do?
I wanted to be in a band because that's what you do, if that makes sense. Like I'm learning now after touring and getting to like meet people and whatnot. My reasons for starting a band are way different than a lot of dudes. Like and it really blew my mind to learn that dudes you started a band to get chicks. Also, you call them chicks. That's a problem right there. You don't need to play music to talk to women. You can just talk to women. Like it's never. All my notions for starting a band were to perpetuate and continue on the tradition that is Baltimore hardcore. Full stop. Period.
Yeah.
Like that's the only reason Ended started, because I didn't feel like there was a band representing the hardcore lineage that I knew and respected and had like gotten into shit for. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that. Yeah, with some age and some wisdom, that's a good reason to start a band. When I first found this stuff, I was like 16, 17. So I noticed that a lot of the guys in bands were getting the most attention from chicks, as we called them then. So that was appealing, but also just I loved this music. I loved going to a show and feeling like I was going to get killed, and the intensity and the community and everything else, and that's what I wanted. So yeah, I love that reasoning for starting End It. Tell me about that. What did you want to accomplish? What was lacking that you wanted to get out there?
To be completely honest, I felt like in Baltimore, it was lacking that hard edge because one thing I always regret, and I call it a regret in getting older and realizing with the way this shit ended up, I could have lied, right? And not went out and done all this dumbass shit in life, but it wouldn't have given the authenticity. And what I felt at that point in time is that this quote unquote Baltimore hardcore shit was missing the real authenticity of what made Baltimore hardcore. Fortunately slash unfortunately, what that element is the willingness to throw your life away because it's hardcore. We coming up under Next Step Up and Stout, and I'm hearing stories about the Skins beating up the Nazis and all that shit and stomping dudes out and selling drugs and being bad. That's the shit. That's what skinheads do. We from Baltimore. We go to the bar. We fuck niggas up. You know what I mean? We do drugs. We get into fights just being a hooligan. And that's what we felt like it was missing in starting Ending.
So is that stuff you're into? Is that stuff you wanted to do to bring in with the music?
Kind of that's the life we was living. We was bouncers. We was bouncers and hustlers. I'm not saying every day was a fucking struggle, and I'm not trying to sell that, Baltimore, the streets tale. I'm over here with the art school kids and the quiz and shit. You know what I mean? We bouncing at a gay bar, but we are working shows, and there are varying types of shows. I'm still at a bar in Baltimore City. You never know who's walking through this door. I done had guns and knives pulled on me just sitting on the door. People in here doing drugs and overdosing and fighting each other and stabbing each other and shit. Like it's real. And like we signed up. I signed up to work in these environments and be in these places because that's where the things I wanted to get into were happening.
Yeah.
So I look back at the kids coming up who I've been in these rooms for so long. I ain't never seen you before. And you repping this thing called hardcore, you getting to travel and benefit off of that Baltimore name. But as far as I'm concerned, at that point in my life, we didn't have friends die and motherfuckers get shot and bloodshed and shit like that and overdoses. This is my actual community. These are my real friends, and you just get to benefit from their hard work. I couldn't oblige.
Nice. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, that was the life I was leading to. Now, I wasn't like a fighter. but I was heavily into drugs, and I liked to be around that. I liked to be out all night. I liked, I was getting knocked out or robbed in a drug deal gone wrong, or trying to buy
Right?
drugs, or running around.
I'm on foot in parts of town you never step foot in.
I was, doing party promotions and playing in bands. It was, all running around Philadelphia. It was good times.
It was good times. But I felt like what was being touted as Baltimore hardcore was missing that connection and authenticity to the people and friends and community that I knew were connected to this global thing called hardcore at that point. Like if you're from Baltimore and you repping hardcore, you've never met anybody in Stout. They're not celebrities. They're regular dudes. You can go get I can guide you to go get tattooed by one of them right now. I can guide you if you got a good head on your shoulders. I can put you in a position to get an apprenticeship and be in a union with a hardcore guy right now. You have never been around to make those relationships. Where the fuck have you been at? This is odd to me. Why? So you do this over the internet? Oh, okay, that's new. But things must grow and evolve. So at this point in my adult life, I've let a lot of that shit go to a degree. I got it out on the album.
Nice. Yeah. So what do you do? Do you get together with people and end it? I mean, how does it come together? How do you put it together? Like, how's it happen?
So the homie Che, he's he's a part of Flat Spot. That's why we on Flat Spot, because of Che in the beginning. He was gonna be a vocalist for this band that Ray Lee had. And I guess it just wasn't a good fit for him. But he knew I was in Malicious Code and invited me to a practice one day. And I just showed up to the practice. A lot of that early ended stuff was heavily influenced by Breakdown and the 87 demo and all that shit. Like one of our first covers was Jail of Depression. Let's put it that way. So I show up and I wrote Give Up the first day I went to an ended practice. And it's been going on from there. I was like, oh, well, because I was loyal to Malicious Code, but then other dudes in that band were filling in for that was my first foray into playing music. So I didn't necessarily know that you could sing for this project and sing for that project. Because remember, I'm not doing these things to try to gain a celebrity or music career. I just like hardcore. I'm just being in bed. I'm as intelligent as I am. I'm equally as dumb. I didn't realize that I was starting a music career. I was just being in a band,
So you weren't even thinking about long term. You're just like, hey, I'm in a band. I'm doing this.
Wasn't no long term, dog. I'm a fucking criminal. We hooligans. I told you I'm sitting on the door. I'm bouncing. I'm putting various substances in my face. We fighting. And rest in peace to the homie. I took the job at Autobar after something bad happened. So, knowing what type of environment I was walking into, I signed up for that shit. That's just where I was in life. A lot of people say they don't give a fuck and up the punks, fuck society. You don't, and you know what I'm talking about. If you out there running around North Philadelphia, some days I don't give a fuck. Straight up, whatever happens today is what happens. And then you start doing that shit for so long, that's literally how you lead your life. These songs aren't fantasies. These are diary entries. It's like, we really should have died last night, boys, but we didn't. So here we are. Let's go. Let's try it again.
Nice. So in those early days, I mean, did things if I pull the camera back a bit and look at the trajectory from 2017 to now, I mean, it seems like a very quick trajectory, but let's talk about those first 3 years. What do you do? Do you play locally in Maryland? How far out touring did you get in those early years? Tell us about some of that.
So our first tour ever, right, in the course of 1 week, at the helm at this point, we don't have Chris in the band, so we don't have a responsible adult. If you're doing business with Andy, you're either talking to Che, Ray, or myself. And I'm quick to pawn on some responsibility. So you're talking to Ray or Che. I'm drinking. That first tour, we did a weekender here. We'll go to Richmond. We'll play a show. We'll go up to Philly, blah, blah, blah. And then our first real tour, in a week's time, we went from Maryland to Chicago. Chicago down to Miami, back up the coast in a 1 week. 5 dudes in a van. That was our first run. And that was successful. Our first show ever outside of the East Coast was at Sub T in Chicago downstairs. And it was crazy as hell. Our first EP was like 7 minutes, 12 minutes, if that. Real punk rock shit. And to have kids go off in another town to that was like, oh, wow. We might be able to at least keep touring. There was never, oh, we'll be able to do something with this. It was like, oh, another tour, another show offer. Cool. It was just keep getting shows. Because why the fuck would I want to go to work?
Yeah. Like, who wants to go to work? I don't.
Remember, and I just had a kid, and like I'm not no saint. I'm not the picture of responsibility. Awesome. I don't have to go to the bar. I don't have to bounce. I don't gotta be dad. I can just go fuck off and drink with my friends. Sure, let's do that. I'm gonna go do that instead.
How old is your kid now?
Miss Olive Jane is 8 years old now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is she exposed to any of this music? I mean, either hardcore or Ended has played with a lot of huge bands at this point. Is she turned on to that world at all?
She's coming around now and recognizing, because she's getting older. She's realizing like, oh, this is what you do. Like, yeah, I'm not just not around. It's nothing personal. I gotta hit the road and do it. And shout out to the internet and just her growing up and her mom raising her well. She's got a good head on her shoulders. So she has a good scope on things. She understands that daddy's like being a musician.
Yeah. What does she think of it? What is she like? Has she seen videos of you? Has she seen the band?
Oh, I bring the baby out on stage every time I'm in Baltimore. I picked up and put her on my shoulders at the record release. The whole crowd say hi to her. I'll make the crowd tell her happy birthday. Almost every show in between songs, because I have songs that were written like Life Sublime. That last part is to all the women in my life when I'm like, hey, I know right now it's a little fucky. I would love to be with you every day. Unfortunately, I got to go do this. But after all this shit, I'll be around. So whenever I go into Life Sublime, I'll tribute that to Olive. I'm always thinking about it.
So when did the band end up signing with Flat Spot?
From day one, we were on Flat Spot. We got released, it's funny. We got put out on Flat Spot simply on the strength of us being from Baltimore and me having such a good relationship with Che. I don't know if you know Che. Che actually is playing, I believe Che's playing bass in this new band out of Baltimore called The Set, Self-Evident Truth. So shout out Che, shout out actually Brady from Turnstile is in The Set. That's his latest band. So Che's in that. But me and Che, we had met when I was teenagers at the gig. And then, like I say with the hardcore shit, you stick around long enough, you never know who you're going to be friends with. But just keep going to the gigs and you keep seeing me and I keep seeing you. That's why we have a relationship and we know each other. Because when you kids were just on the internet, we were in the DIY spot.
Yeah, I was into it when I was young. There's been times when I've been really into it and times when I haven't been into it, and I've drifted off into different things over the years, post-rock, post-hardcore, whatever. But I've been around everything now for the past 5 years because of this podcast and different bands. And yeah, you just meet a lot of people. Like I used to go to shows and know nobody and be miserable. Now I'm back to going to shows and always at least knowing somebody. And it's the best. I feel 18 again.
It is nice to know that just coming from Baltimore, internationally now, there's not, outside, we haven't done Africa and like Southeast Asia and shit like that. But most established countries in the world, I know I can go there and someone will let me pass out on that couch. I will get allowed into the show. I will have someone to stand around with and bum cigarettes off of and like take a shot with, have a beer, walk up the street, Someone will give me a ride to the train. And it's all because I like breakdowns and yelling.
I like your outlook on it. That's good, yeah. So when did we start working on Wrong Side of Heaven, the debut LP? It came out earlier this year. Very, very strong debut. I love it. A lot of people love it. You recorded with Brian McTernan?
Shout out Brian. We love Brian.
What a legend. Yeah. When did you start working on it? Like, when did you start writing it?
So remember, you're always supposed to, we're going to write an album. You need to start writing. I've never really been one to write songs without music. Like, the way it's always worked is Ray sends me some music. Chris and Ray work something out, a melody and a beat. They send it to me. I write something. We get in the studio. We record. But with Brian, like I said, our relationship with the band's relationship at that point in time, we all had personal shit going on, but we still had the tour. So it's like, well, I'm around you, but like, I'm not really here. We just playing. Because as soon as we get off the road, I got this real important thing to attend to. So between all the traveling and personal lives, it took us 2 years to write this album. And Brian was about to drop the project because we were so unorganized. And I can be honest about it now because it's over. We did not show up prepared. We also I know the name. I know the bands Brian's been a part of, but I've never been at this part of my music career. So I didn't necessarily understand the severity of the opportunity I was being given. None of us did. It's just this guy, Brian. He an OG. He said he wanted to record us. That's what's up. He was in battery sick. That's cool. Then you get around him and you learn about all the things outside of Battery and like outside of his studios and whatnot. You understand who you actually sitting around and getting the opportunity to record with. And it's like, oh, my fault, OG. I didn't know his rep for real. I just thought it was this guy named Brian who records. And then you get around him and you learn, like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. And then you start to respect, who you're working with more.
His web is very, very wide. Now I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've heard that Brian, I don't want to say can be tough to work with, but he's serious and he really pushes bands, and he will get the best out of you. But it will be a process. Like you said that you guys showed up not so prepared. Like what happens? I mean, and you said he almost dropped the project. Like, what happens? Did you not have enough written? Was he like, guys, you got to pull it together? Like, how did it come together?
So the writing style we normally would approach a project with didn't work with Brian. Normally we just let Ray write the music and Chris will add drums and then I add lyrics. Boom, we have a song. For the undertaking that is a full-length LP, this ain't just some fucking punk rock EP you're trying to do. You want to write a full-length. This is your presentation to a broader audience that we're here to make music and be taken seriously. We never approached recording like that before. We really are a bunch of hooligans. Like, this is not a facade. There is the most responsible one is Gons, but even Gons still a hardcore kid. You know? So we didn't really understand the opportunity being given to us. And then, shout out to good counsel. People would pipe up and be like, hey, don't fuck this up. He don't do this for everybody. He actually likes y'all, and he really is passionate about your potential and what he could help you produce. You got to let him. You see how you don't have any gold plaques? Like, you see how you're coming to his house to record, and you got to ride from your mom? He walked down the street from his other house. Yeah, he walked to his recording house from the home that he lives in, and you got dropped off here from your mom after waking up on a friend's couch. So maybe one day you could have a house if you lock in and stop being an asshole. So that was probably the hardest part, is to have to put the ego to the side. Me and Brian I've heard stories. I'm not disrespectful like that. So he the producer. Like I told you, I grew up recording. He knows better than me. I never would have so much pride or ego to try to argue with the man whose proof is hung up on the walls of his second home.
Right.
Yeah,
and I was, because Brian's been on the show too, and I know that he doesn't record like all the time like he used to back in the day. So when I saw that he did your record, I was like, oh, that's sick. Like, what's funny is, in my mind, I was like, I want Brian to have recorded the record, but I know he doesn't record all the time. So then I saw that he did, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So like, yeah, that's a great opportunity because I mean, I really respect him because he just had his hand in so many different things, so many things I've listened to growing up.
And so many things outside of just music too. Like if I ever grow up and become responsible, I can go to Brian and be like, "Hey, can I pick your brain about this like thing that you've been doing outside of music, like in terms of finance or investment or contracting or something?" He's just a valued resource to have. And he's a nice guy and he has no reason to lie to you because he doesn't want anything from you. Brian does not care that he can add he recorded ended to his credits. He did it because he likes hardcore and ended is a hardcore band. That was it.
So what did you guys do to lock in? Like, what did you have to do?
That's another one of those, that's the benefits of being on a label. You know? I really honestly couldn't tell you. I think he just like respects how we put on for Baltimore. And we've met before in passing, like, oh, that's Brian. Again, I met Brian, but I didn't really know his pedigree. So then being around him and meeting him, you know, we run in the same circles. We know all the same people. So like he undertook it. He reached out to us. Also, I believe the homies in Angel Dust were recording with him at the same time as well. So that may have had something to do with it.
Okay. Talk about some of the themes of the LP. You said you want to represent Baltimore. Like, is it a love song to Baltimore? Is there other lyrical elements in there, other themes? Tell us about it.
So there's not really like a love song to Baltimore. I'm not like in a divorce with Baltimore, but me and Baltimore definitely going through a separation period. And I had to recognize a lot of my OGs, even some of them that are still there. One of the true signs of really being from here is you gotta get the fuck out. Much like Philadelphia. If you stick around too long, you're gonna get comfortable and you're not gonna grow. You're gonna squander the opportunities being presented to you. I recognize that by hook or by crook, and I got out of there. You know, so this album, in some regards, I'm still down for the scene. I still love hardcore, but as much as I used to like to check people for being a poser, I gotta check myself. We not really doing the hardcore thing like that no more. How I can't hold people to the same standard I used to hold them to and not hold myself to it. So I'm not as hardcore as I once thought I was, or some days and moments believe I still am. I'm 35. You're a 35-year-old man with an 8-year-old child, still trying to satiate the identity of a fucking teenage boy. You gotta grow up, dog. And it's weird that I would find myself having to grow up while still doing the thing I love to do. Because I'm still being hardcore, but you can't drink a fifth of tequila, snort an 8-ball every night for 40 fucking days straight and think you're going to make it through tour. You're not. You can, but you're going to break in some regard and you won't be able to fix that.
Yeah, I used to live that lifestyle. And if you stick with that lifestyle, if you do not change something, you die or you just fade away or you end up in jail that's pretty much it, death or jail. I hit a point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And now I'm on the physical fitness, mental fitness, touch of spirituality trip. And, I'm on that. All right, how about you?
We're drinking water. We're eating a little mushroom, a little sour silver every once in a while. We're steering away from so much alcohol. I found out I got the gout, so I can't really ingest certain things. I gotta definitely stay hydrated. Gotta drink a gallon of water a day. Like back to the question you asked. Some of the themes of the album. The song "Used to Be," like I said at the end, because all I see is a "used to be." You sitting around talking about the 80s. It ain't the motherfucking 80s. It's not the 90s or the early 2000s. It's the 2020s. I don't watch you make sure that bar stool don't float away for the better part of 2 decades. Talking about some shit that happened back in 94. You're a fucking loser. And I'm grown enough and old enough to tell you this now. And if you feel some type of way about it, we can get it popping. I had to respect you when I was younger because that's what you do, is be respectful. We equals now. You're a fucking loser. The worst thing you can do is kill me. If you kill me, I'll be dead. You'll still be a fucking loser. Last thing I wanted to do was grow up to be a fucking loser. And as much as I love the homies, dog. I love hanging out. I done spilt blood, shed tears. I really care about my friends. Some of them are fucking losers, and I refuse to grow up to be one.
Yeah, some of that stuff will really hold you back. I read another interview with you and you just talked about it a minute ago. Baltimore, you can really get stuck. Philly, you can really get stuck. Like when I was moving out of Philly to come up to New York, someone was like, yeah, I have to wish you bad luck because we don't want people to leave or some shit like that. But if I would have stayed in the suburb I grew up in, I would have just become a horrible dad or a drunk, an awful drunk, like hoping that drugs come across my table sometimes. If I would have stayed in Philly, I would have become a junkie or stayed a junkie and died. I'm glad I moved out. My mind expanded. The things I believe expanded. My experiences expanded. Who I am just grew and grew. Do you feel that way too with the things you've done?
I'm in that moment right now. I am the son of a daycare provider and a steel worker, black and from America. My father was born before desegregation. You feel me? And worked in a fucking steel mill. I'm going to Australia in 4 days to play hardcore music. That's a much cooler story than I also ended up working at the steel mill, got some woman pregnant, and just settled. Is what would have happened. I'd have probably been on my second or third divorce, fourth or fifth kid. You know, and I've been a cool guy. Don't get me wrong. I'd still be Akil from Baltimore. I'd still be Mr. Hardcore. But that shit ain't cute or progressive. I got to experience better. I like going to the Netherlands, dog. It's real cool to wake up. I've woken up in a small village in Germany to a cat, to a fucking horse going up a cobblestone road. That's cool. That's better than the homies who got killed fresh out of high school. I'll take that.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the trajectory of End It, Australian tour coming up with Scal. Scal is amazing. Shows with Blink 182, Alkaline Trio, Suicidal Tendencies, headlining tour for your incredible new record. How do you deal with it all? Because, all right, sometimes a lot of good things are happening for me, right? Like not on that big of a scale, but good things are happening. A lot of things are coming in, and I'm like, whoa, I got to take a minute to like think about this. How do you deal with it? Like, how do you relegate it? Do you think about things like that?
I used to worry that the other shoe was going to drop. Like, when something bad going to happen? Because that's just the way we were raised. We were raised in that survival mindset. Like, yeah, we just made it through last month. Let's hope this fucking water bill don't go up. Let's hope you and your brother don't have some emergency. You know, and now I've given up the ghost because I realized that isn't my life. You know, good things happen. So many bad things have happened, and that's not like in a trying to win clout type way. That's just from being outside for too long. So many bad things have happened. It's time for some good things to happen. So just accept it. That's really where I'm at. I take literally in the most AA recovery way possible. We taking this shit one day at a time. and that's not like I'm trying to get well or get better, nothing like that. You just gotta attack what's in front of you, and then because there's something else coming tomorrow. But now it's not like what else do I have to fight off or defend against? What other thing will I get to experience tomorrow?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I'm familiar with those programs, wink, wink. So that's how I live my life, one day at a time, just for today. What are we doing today? We're not thinking about tomorrow.
Can't focus on tomorrow. Got to make it through the day.
Right.
Because today started off with someone talking to me in a tone that I didn't appreciate, and now I want to drink, but I got shit to do. So I guess I'm just gonna, I don't know, guys, we got to lock in. We got a show to play. That person's tone at Dairy Queen should not disrupt your whole day. We can't allow it to disrupt our day, guys. They didn't know, they didn't understand how they said that. That was 8 hours ago.
Oh my God, I used to be so vengeful. Like, like one time they forgot to take my order at a Chinese restaurant and I was like really hungry. I was like hangry. And I got so mad that I was going to like egg the Chinese place. So I went home and got eggs and I came back and I was about to throw the eggs and then a cop car pulls up and parks. And I was like, oh, this is like really stupid. So, so I've gone from that to someone mouths off or whatever, and you know what you do? Like if someone mouths off or something, you ask them if they're okay. It really disarms them.
Now, I will say though, and this is probably just a side effect of having gainful employment. The time before this last tour, I do by trade, I do hotel audiovisual. I'm an AV tech, so truss, screens, projectors, microphones, lights, all that shit. I'm going towards work, and I'm in DC now. Mind you, Trump demilitarized DC. There's National Guard everywhere. I go through the exit because obviously, subways where you got to pay to get in, pay to get out. I pay to get out. Little motherfucker pretends like he don't speak English and just slides out on my exit fare. I'm 230 pounds. I carry weapons. I'm walking home. And normally I let it slide because times are hard. For some reason, that rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, and I just interrupted him. I put my hand on his chest. I'm like, so what entitled you to my 250? And he's like, huh? I was like, no, huh. What entitled you to my 250? And before he could say anything, I open hand slapped this motherfucker across the face. And then just stood there and was like, bet you won't do it again. If you want some more, I'll be at the top of the escalator. Then I ride the escalator backwards and just stare at him. So I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm saying that we taking it one day at a time.
No, yeah. No one can do the right thing all the time. I can't.
That's why I come down here to El Paso and I lay low. I don't do anything. I hang out with my old lady. We play Uno. We play Monopoly. I go do regular. We go to Chili's. I don't know. It's just a break from the insanity that is being a touring musician.
Chili's is good. That's my go-to at the airport.
We love Chili's.
I saw you supported Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio for 2 shows, right?
Yes.
Incredible. All right. This caught me off guard. I thought this person was kidding, but I think they were serious. Someone commented this on Instagram about those shows. They're like, this is so weird. Playing in front of thousands of people that won't like your band. What's the point? What do you think of that?
They gave me American currency to do it, and I still got to open for Blink. I don't understand. So that's like a thing I'm getting used to with all this like attention and whatnot. And not to use therapy talk in non-therapy settings, but they are still real and exist. That's projection. You would feel some type of way about getting up on stage and playing for thousands who don't care about your band. This is 20 years in the making for me. So because of me hanging out at bars and being friendly and dealing with micro and macro aggressions and transgressions and horrible things and sleepless nights and drug addiction and bullshit, I get to now open for Blink. Because guess what? I played for that 30 minutes and then they paid us American currency and then they got an all-you-can-eat traveling kitchen in the back, serving up culinary gourmet grade cuisine. So I got to play for people who don't care. I still got paid. I add opening the Blink to my credit. I got to eat and then watch Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio. You paid to go to that show. I got paid to go to that show.
Yeah, plus, first of all, 2 legendary bands, but saying for a bunch of people who don't care, you read these stories all the time. Like some kid goes to that show and is like, oh, that's the first time I saw Ended opening up for Blink and they became my favorite band and I saw them again. Like think about how many people will have that story after a show like that.
Because I didn't start a band so people would remember my name. I started a band so they would remember hardcore. I'm a nerd. This is all about hardcore. It's just because I like hardcore. I don't care if people know who I am.
How was the vibe at those shows? Was it fun?
Merch got sold. We had a great time. Walk out into the crowd. All right, case in point. Shout out to homie Philly Pat again. Pat know the tricks of the trade. We got a couple of pit area tickets, little wristbands. Again, there is a certain level of anonymity because people are not there to see Ending. You get to walk through the crowd, find kids who got on current day hardcore merch or just hardcore merch in general. Hey, you want an upgraded seat? Instead of having this seat all the way at the back, I can get you in the pit area in the front. Oh shit, you're going from Ending. Yeah, here you go. That's much cooler than some dude who doesn't necessarily care about the scene commenting on how much he didn't like my band. I didn't play for you. I played for, or the little black kid who was doing his, I believe this was St. Louis. he was walking through with his dad. His dad, it reminded me of me and my dad. You can tell this older black dude was just supporting his son at the alternative rock and roll show. I got to take a picture with him because he recognized me. He got to be front row at the fucking show now. That's way more cool and impactful than even opening for Blink. Because now that little kid knows, yo, what I'm doing is not weird.
That's amazing. Yeah, because those people will remember that forever. Because that's rare.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff doesn't happen.
He's gonna tell his like children or girlfriends or other family, other weirdos about it. And so the weird kids don't fucking kill themselves, dog. That's what it's about. Keeping the good weirdos alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, at least nowadays, it seems like there's a lot more weirdos or acceptance of weirdos, which is cool because when I was growing up, there wasn't. I was one of like 3 hardcore kids in my high school, and I mostly got made fun of for it. But nowadays, it seems like a lot more people are into it, which is cool. I mean, there's like the internet, which is its own beast and can be really bad for people. But it seems like it's a better world for weirdos, and I like that. Those are my people.
As much as I want to retain that like hard beat down, mosh hard crew shit, you know, I'm in a crew, I do my thing. I love the fact that hardcore is going soft, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because we had to embrace that bullshit because that's just what it was. But that didn't mean it needed to be that way. So I'm glad that it's not. You know, we not as young as we once were. I've been shot at. I don't want to have to risk getting shot or stabbed at the hardcore show some days. You know what I mean? I'd rather just go play a show, take a couple pictures with some young kids, smoke some weed, and go home in one piece.
Yeah.
I've had enough wild nights. I don't need every night to be wild.
That's better than getting shot at, yeah.
Straight up. I don't care what nobody say. Call me whatever you got to call me. Everybody want to get in a fight till they get punched in their fucking mouth.
You know what? I know you're a fan of The Wire. Remember Kima's rap about like getting punched in the face? You know, she's like, "Oh, I took this guy down," and you get punched in the face, and you realize it's not the end of the world. I've been punched in the face quite a few times now at age 43.
Same.
It's really not that bad. Last time I got punched in the face was during a drug deal gone wrong, and I don't remember what the disagreement was, but the dude cracked me in the face. And I didn't go down. I didn't like get knocked out. And then I was like, all right, here's the $20 I have. Bye.
And you could have just
fine.
asked.
Yeah, I was fine.
We'll be just fine. But even bigger than that, why are we doing this? That's a thing. As a teenager, this is fucking hardcore. This skinhead, this punk rock shit is a youth subculture. In my personal head, the only reason it's acceptable for me to still be here is because I've been doing this since I was 15. If at 35, and you know, it used to be 25, but I'm going to give y'all some space because COVID. To those of us who've been around a while, it is odd to see older people just now getting into hardcore. But you also got to give space for the fact not everybody grew up fucked up like you. So just be happy they found it.
Yeah, I'm at this point, if anybody finds it, if anybody likes it, fine. I don't really have any kind of gatekeepery attitude about it anymore. Like, it's not going to serve me or anybody else.
And I'm not going to act like I don't. I still do, but it's a tongue-in-cheek thing, you know. It's that fucking purist, elitist, I've been here 20 years type shit.
Okay, unless somebody I hate gets into it, then I'm going to be like, no, you get the fuck out of here. Like,
dog, I have definitely made grown men feel uncomfortable to come to the hardcore show, and I do not care for the pettiest reasons.
Oh yeah, there are some people I just straight up don't like. They'll never be on the show. I'll never acknowledge them, and that's just the way it is.
I like now with the way the band's going. I love the people. You don't have to speak, like, you don't actually have to like, we don't have to like each other. And that is more than okay. I'm not going to talk shit. I don't harbor any ill will. Live your life and I'm going to live my life. But make sure you stay the fuck over there. you know what I mean? We don't have to do this. And that's okay.
How's the vibe in Baltimore now? Do you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to with End It?
So this is another part of it. Before End It, shout out Hate 33. There was a house we all lived in. There was a lull late 2014 to like around the time Indie really started popping, where Baltimore had bands, but there wasn't a lot of like legacy bands and bigger bands coming because the people who had the keys to the venues were booking the things that they wanted. And it wasn't hardcore focused. Hardcore, it's just a bunch of cishet white men in their fucking boys club. It was that mindset had taken over the keys to the venues. That's just how it goes. We did our best and due diligence to mend those relationships, show that we were trustworthy and whatnot, to get access to the space to book the shows and keep the things going. With that being stated, I'm so happy that Baltimore Hardcore is where it's at. I didn't know I was setting it up for where it was, but I did what I was supposed to do to keep this thing that I love going. And that's all the fuck I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? You raise your kids because you love them. Whatever they choose to do with their adult life is completely up to them, the same way you did with your own. But I'm happy to say that my contribution, the booking the shows, the getting the bands out, the doing security, the roughing people up, has gotten us to the point where you don't have the guys carrying the knives and guns, making the kids unwelcome and afraid anymore. As much as it's not tough and as hooliganish as I would like it to be, it is better for society.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing. When did it change? Like in Philly, you were in danger up until 2000. I don't know. I would say like after 2008, I stopped seeing like a lot of really dangerous stuff happening at shows. When was the shift in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, because Philly only 2 hours away. Around that time, a lot of the older guys had to go be adults, and like we had that wild, crazy energy, but the opportunities to do it didn't present themselves as much anymore. But it's cranked back up after that first Trump campaign / inauguration. So there was a lull, and then there was an uptick because it's like, oh, people are passing out white power literature again. Fuck. Here we go.
Yeah, this is the chance for the new generation to run all the Nazis out of the scene.
This new generation ain't like us. Words hurt. You know what I mean? We have, and that's what, like I said, I forget what song it was. We've traded standards for empathy, and now we've lost control. Let too many in. They claim to be friends. They're here, but they have no soul. In being so welcoming and accepting, you get those covert, subservient, perverse people in here. But the game's changed now because you can't just take them out back and fuck them up. They call the police. They got the tattoos and the t-shirts, but they don't got the ethos. So you got to approach it differently now. You know what I mean? I got there's motherfuckers, I look them dead in the eye today, and if you ever hear they off this planet, I may have something to do with it because we can't approach it the way we used to. It sucks to know that someone is an abuser and is a bad person, and you just gotta let it rock. Because if you fire off at the time, I've been around this shit long enough. I can smell a scumbag from a mile away. If I start treating people a certain way off rip, now I'm a bully. Can't be a bully. They paid money to be here. So it really breaks my heart to have to sit there and just watch them. Be like, I know how you are and what you do. I can't get involved because it's not my problem.
Yeah, I was just talking about this. Oh, was it yesterday? I think so. Like I've had this conversation with other musicians. Like they know something is wretched. They say something and they suffer. The person who speaks up suffers, not the person doing the dirt. And that's the way it is in a lot of businesses, and it's messed up.
The other day on Instagram, I quoted a line from the Dancing Outlaw. Are you familiar?
No.
Dancing Outlaw is some white folk up in West Virginia. They started their own style of tap dancing, blah, blah, blah. PBS did a documentary on them in the 80s about this guy named Jessica White. It's called The Dancing Outlaw. And then the guys from Jackass, that production company, did a documentary about them later called The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Oh, that I've heard of. Yeah.
So the prequel to that whole thing is a thing called Dancing Outlaw. And I just quoted the guy This guy has admitted to setting churches on fire and robbing gas stations and huffing gasoline and paint. And he said, I held the butcher's knife to her neck. And I told her, if you want to live to see tomorrow, you better start frying them eggs a little bit better than what you're frying them. I'm tired of eating sloppy, slimy eggs. I quote this one thing. Someone reached out to me was like, I don't think you recognize it. Like, that really wasn't the gotcha that you thought. Like, they basically were insinuating that, like, I thought by posting that this was going to be like a viral, successful post. Because people assume that I use my Instagram as like I'm a content creator, when I'm really just an asshole with an internet connection. I just be posting shit. I don't have no rhyme or reason. I'm really just an ended.
Yeah.
But I say stupid things on the internet and you get that dopamine rush from a like. That's why I do it, just to fuck around. This woman, the audacity of her to insinuate that I was the one, like I was culpable of the behavior explained. I was quoting this asshole. He actually held a butcher's knife to a woman's neck while fucked up on huffing gas because she didn't fry eggs properly. But you go to scold me, the person who quoted this. The world's cognitive dissonance is at an all-time high. The world's fucked.
Those kind of attitudes really annoy me. It's like here, the elections are a good example of this. It's like, hey, you can vote for a war criminal doing a genocide 1 or war criminal doing a genocide 2. I say, no, I do not support this system. I will not take part. Do they say, good job, we hate war criminals who do genocide? They say, no, it's your fault. This is all your fault because you did not participate. What? What happened?
How don't the American public see that this is two sides of the same asshole?
Thank you.
Again, and I just said this in the interview before. If I don't like someone, I don't go to their fucking wedding. I don't eat dinner with them. I don't go to spaces they're in. I don't communicate with them. These motherfuckers are constituents. Words mean things. They clock into the same universal building every day. They go to the same galas. They're going to that gold gilded ballroom to sit around and discuss how they're going to take advantage of us. And one's a jackass and one's an elephant. How don't we see what's going on? We're being played with. You're playing with me.
Yeah. It's so obvious these days. This is one good tool of social media, is that everything is like just so out there now. Anyone can see it, but so many people still don't see it. I don't get it.
It makes you feel like a crazy person.
Often, yes.
to watch these people backtrack on their votes. And the thing is, because of just my knowledge of politics and how I feel about the world, someone running for president is just the person they decided to put up there. That's all that is. That dude is just a figurehead. You know, that's all it is. He's a front person. He is the front person of the Republican Party. That's it. I'm the front person to end it. He's the front person for the Republicans. What my booking agent does, what the publicists do, all those conversations and whatnot, I wouldn't be made privy. There's too many moving pieces to this puzzle. But I do know, and I'm not going to drop any band names, but insert a horrible band that we don't respect to discuss. I know I'm not going to play with them. And there's no amount of money or influence that would make me go. All you got to have is a little bit of integrity. And that's what the world's lacking. We're lacking the integrity to disenfranchise and disassociate from this horrible system, because you still get the benefit from it.
Yeah. And I'm the kind of person who, I'll stand by something even if it hurts me. And you certainly seem like the same kind of person. I
know for a fact this band will never get as big as it actually could, because if there's certain people I have to do business with, I'm fucking not going to. That's the only time I pull that diva card. Is this some shit that I ain't going for? I ain't going. And you all can kill me. I don't fucking care. How about that?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we have to live with ourselves.
I got to look in the mirror.
Let's talk about what's coming up. We've got the tour in Australia with Scowl. Will that be your first time there?
It'll be our first time in Australia. I'm stoked.
That's exciting. It just seems like a world impossibly far away. I mean, come on.
Just like opening for Blink, that's how I feel about. In 4 days, I'll be on the net. In the next 4 days, I'll be going to Pomona, California to play a show with Drain, and then getting on an airplane and going to Australia just before Christmas. I'm going to be spending Thanksgiving in another country.
Now that's sick. You play with Drain in California on the way to this tour?
There is a festival in Pomona, California. I believe it's called Viva Pomona at a place called the Glass House, and we're playing this festival Sunday the 23rd. We're playing just before Drain, and then I believe 1 day or 2 days after that, we get on the airplane to Australia. Can't complain at all, dog. I went to public school.
I went to private school and I hated it. You know how I was talking earlier about people I really hate if they got into hardcore? A lot of those people from those schools. If I ever see them, I'm not going to talk to them. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. Ain't it nice that you've grown to the point in life you're like, I'm not going to say I'm going to harm them or anything crazy like that.
I've never been that kind of person.
I will give them a disapproving glance. I promise you that much.
Yeah, I've never been much of a fighter. I've been punched in the face more than once, but I'm not a physically altercating person.
So I'm not either, but I'm 230 pounds and I like hardcore. You gonna have to fight somebody. You don't get to hang around this long and never. No one. You talk all this Billy Badass shit. No one's ever seen you fight. That don't fucking work.
All right. I was gonna say, when's the last like altercation you've been in? Hold on. Let me see if I can remember. I think for me it was I think it was the drug deal gone wrong, but that was a long time ago. Like, what about you?
The most recent one was like day 2. It was either day 2 or 3 of that tour. So we did 10 days with Super Heaven, opening for Super Heaven, and then we did the headlining tour. So it's like day 2 or 3 of the Super Heaven tour. We're in Atlanta. That was the day Charlie Kirk got shot. Obviously, my politics lean the way they lean. I'm in a hardcore band. I'm on stage popping my shit. Afterwards, some white guys, we in Georgia, want to come tell me about why what I said about Charlie Kirk was unacceptable or harmful or whatever. Which I will say, wishing someone to die is not a kind thing to say, which is why I said it, because I didn't want to be kind. This man didn't believe in empathy. Why would I express it for him? I already know how this conversation's going, so I just started taking my jacket off. And the guy's like, what are you doing? I was like, nah, I know how this goes. You can just see me outside. And that's the closest I've gotten in a while. Because, mind you, we're doing our thing. And homeboy don't know he's surrounded. Because, like, we don't lead with that anymore. And this is a Super Heaven crowd. So you don't know that we're a bunch of idiots. You know what I mean? My older brother just moved down Georgia. And I hate the way my brain works. If I'd have got locked up in Georgia, it'd have been a simple assault. My OG would have bailed me out. I'd have stayed at Rock's house. Tour would have been over. I'd have just started work on Monday and just lived in Georgia now. Because I'd have had to quit the band and go to jail, whatever. And that's the closest I've gotten to fisticuffs in a while. Because we can't do that shit no more. I've realized, me personally, go to jail, go to prison. I don't want to do these things. And I'm not to say I'm built for them. But this is America. Things happen. So my whole life, I've kind of been concerned, like, hey, you do certain shit. That's just the price you pay. Be prepared. These young men I'm in a band with don't deserve that. They've done absolutely nothing but try to pay, especially now that we got fill-ins. You know what I mean? These boys are stopping their other things to come do shit for us. It wouldn't be right to put them in a situation they didn't ask to be in. Chris and Ray, that's one thing. We've all been homies for a while now. We got other people coming to do merch and they're leaving their wives and children to come help us. It's not fucking right to put them in a position. So now I gotta play pussy, excuse me, and just let it go.
It's hard, but sometimes you got to turn the other cheek. It's the right thing to do.
It really is. Imagine if one of those kids could really fight. I go to pop off and get laid out. Now I'm on the internet beat up by a Super Heaven fan. Nothing against Super Heaven.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. Mr. Tough Hardcore Man got stretched out by a motherfucking Hawaiian button-up. It's a bad look.
Oh, that's good. Well, Wrong Side of Heaven is out. I mean, look, there's no shortage of good things, good shows happening. Are you happy?
Dog, life is just fine. In relation to other days, I have nothing. I love a day where I don't do nothing but stare at TikTok. My life is, I ain't got all the money I want, I'm still broke, but hey, I'm not as broke, and that's fine. I'm above ground. I get to see my daughter. I get to see my friends. No one's, I haven't gotten that phone call in a while. Ain't nothing bad happening to nobody. We living. It's okay.
That's awesome. Well, listen, is there anything else coming up that we didn't discuss or that you want to mention in the end here?
We're playing FYA beginning of January. I believe January 8th and 9th, maybe 9th and 10th in Orlando. And we're going on a run, down and around that time period. So if you can't catch us at FYA, you may catch us in another one of your towns. And the Disturbing the Peace Festival, Baltimore's got its annual hardcore thing end of January at the Baltimore Soundstage. So come catch us again if you would like. No pressure. And one more thing I would like to say. This is antithetical to my whole being in a band and trying to make money. If you cannot afford merch or a t-shirt, please do not spend your last to come see me. Please take care of yourself. There will be other shows. That FOMO shit is some capitalist bullshit, my nigga. Sometimes you just don't get to go. That's where appreciation lies and missing out on things. So do not kill yourself to come give me your fucking money. Because I'd rather you come and have a good time than come and have to worry about whether you're going to be able to pay your phone bill tomorrow. That's goofy as hell.
Those are wise words. Well, Akil, it was really nice meeting you. I love the band. I love the new record. I wish you and everybody else continued success. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show.
Right on. Thank you for having me. I hope I get to meet you in real life sometime.